Good afternoon and welcome to Sanera here in the Pisang Valley in Plettenberg Bay. There are near perfect weather conditions for show jumping. It's a cool breeze and bright blue skies, so wonderful sunshine, but a great temperature which is comfortable for the horses. We are about to watch the 2018 Adult Inter-Provincial Show Jumping Team Championship of South Africa. There are just 3 teams taking part, so that's 12 horses. There's a team from Gauteng, a combined East Cape and Limpopo team, and a team from the Western Cape. Quite a nice opportunity to see some of the younger riders and some of the younger or newer horses. It'll open with a Gauteng rider. The very successful Rainer Korber will be riding for the Callahoo stud, the Callahoo bred Lansink. This venue is new to the South African scene. It opened this year and it is completely spectacular. The scenery and the surroundings are amazing. Lawrence, you've seen a few venues in your time. I doubt if you've seen much like this. Welcome to Lawrence Mert.
Hi, thanks, Rox. Yeah, this is amazing. This is a lovely opportunity to come and do some show jumping in this part of the world. Quite rare for us. We're normally stuck up in the dry Gauteng sun, but now in the cool plate air, we're really enjoying it. The horses feel fresh and ready to jump, even though they had a long journey down. Looking forward to a good day of show jumping here.
And how many horses did you bring, Lawrence?
I bought quite a few. I bought 3 of my own, and then one for my girlfriend to ride. How sweet. I've been jumping really well. I won a class this morning and looking forward to the rest of the show.
Wonderful. And I see you're here with your Irish friend and mentor.
Yes, Neil Fearon. I met him when I was overseas buying horses, one of which I competed in the 150 class earlier this week. He competed himself in Nations Cup for Ireland, and he's been helping me out at this show, and he's really enjoyed it so far. Seen some top class riding as well as horses, and it's exciting for him to experience something like this and show him what South Africa has to offer.
Absolutely. And we are going to... So there you get a look at the judges box, the Sunera judges box, attractively made out of wood. Everything you see is brand new, and this is the brainchild of Giovanni Augusta and his family. They acquired this farm years back. It was a stud farm, the Rudefontein stud farm, where Ross and Gardner bred some top division horses, and then it stood for a while, and the Augustas acquired it, named after a favored mare, Sunera, who lived here, and it's extraordinary. It feels like being anywhere overseas.
Exactly. The lovely, I think it's knives and a pine or something, or that everything's made out of. It's all new and fresh and such a lovely feel of the place. You know, it feels like a promising venue for the future.
We've been blown away. They had to construct a road at the top of the valley to get the horses and the trucks in. They've constructed a 200-box guest stabling facility, which I think you'll agree with me is close to perfect.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the horses are really comfortable there. It's nice and cool, very well made.
Yeah, big and airy and safe and really, as you say, comfortable. And then the arena which you are watching and looking at now is marvelous. The parade of the interprovincial teams. And we see the man in the red t-shirt, Barry Taylor, and he leads in the Gauteng team. Standing down or reserve is Nicola Syme Riley. She's walking next to Barry. Then you see the team horses, grooms, the marvelous guys who make this all effortless and possible, or seem effortless and possible. And then the Gauteng team, you can pick them out, Lawrence?
Yes, they're the master himself, Jonathan Clark. Looking forward to watching him ride. Always a masterclass and privileged to watch him ride. And then other very just as talented riders alongside him. Nice locally bred horses, some international horses. Looking forward to them.
Yes, Jonathan's sitting on Gerber van den Bishop, owned by the Data Sciences show jumping team, and that was imported from Belgium. That's a Katoki. That is an Agana Zita Calvados. Next to him is Rainer Korber. And something about Rainer.
Yeah, I loved watching that horse come up the ranks. I actually have a Lisbon, very similar to Rainer's Lisbon. Quirky, fast, quick, but careful. This thing can fly against the clock, and it's always lovely watching Rainer do what he does best. You know, the tight turn backs, the big oxes, and that horse is always willing and keen.
Yeah, he's a very fast rider. The grey in the Gauteng team is ridden by the talented Lara Neal, and she bred that horse herself. It's an Ulano van Labos out of a South African warm-blood mare called Whisper Cool. She's a daughter of Wunderbar.
I watched Sean ride that stallion Alana in some huge classes, winning some not big classes, but fast classes, big titles.
Exactly, Lawrence, and really win.
Phenomenal, yeah.
And then who's the final person in the Gauteng team?
That is Jean Corber on a also a locally bred horse, I think, out of a local dam line, isn't it?
Yes, a husband and wife in the same team, and there's a Lissabon, and that's out of the mare Fiorella, and she's a daughter of For Joy. Then we go to the next team. It's the combined Limpopo East Cape team. Lloyd Nichols with the orange collar on his smart jacket. He rides Eagles Cognac, a Concerto Warrior.
Yeah, me and Lloyd are great friends. We often sit at the bar after the shows together and have a nice chat about what's going on. We don't get to see each other often, obviously, because he lives all the way down in this beautiful part of the world. But he's a really great guy, and we actually spent some time in Germany together at Stahlmeier, and we had great times there.
In the team on the grey is Robin Gerber. She rides Eagles Licorice, and that's a Lassiter Concerto. Looking on its toes, the Lassiter Concerto. And then we've got Anthony Kay, one of the big forces in equestrian sport in the Eastern Cape, and he rides Ebon Flow Assegai Cognac, bred at the Assegai stud by Kerry Curry, and that's a Canter Z out of a Rex Guaranos mare.
Anthony's so fun to watch the shows. He's such a character, really livens up the show experience.
And a hardcore dealer. He really knows what he's doing. And then the Western Cape. In that team is Ivan van der Seyde on Beach Havens After Dark, which can win up to 140 like nothing else. The grey is Jason Hunter, and he rides Soft Track Systems Chabal's Destiny. That's Udoki's Vallon Rouge. Who's been having a really good show is Georgina Ratcliffe, and she rides in the team event for Western Cape, Novus on Australs Anico. That's a Chilano Capitol. And who's the final member of the Western Cape team? Tara Lowe. Yes, it is. She's riding Cuda Capital Valentine. This is a Verdi Bambix.
Very strong team there. People who normally compete up with us in Gauteng and would be used to riding against our Gauteng riders.
It's quite interesting that Gauteng is numerically stronger and but significantly stronger, but it doesn't always win the team event like it should on paper.
Exactly, yeah.
My money is on Gauteng this afternoon, though.
Well, they have the oozing class just now, but I mean, this team now, super strong, lovely horses for this height and more. So I think they'll be able to turn back. They definitely got the scope and the firepower to really maybe take this event. I'm looking at them. They're looking really strong. Ivan was super strong this morning. I think he had 3 horses placed in that 120 class earlier today. He's on form.
He lives up the road on his mother's property and mother and father's property, Equine Librium, and it is a registered facility to produce equine BSc in physio, or not equine, veterinary physio. So animal physio, and the facilities we visited yesterday are remarkable. What a beautiful place to come and study for your BSc down in Plet, and they've got it all. Your designer today is Kevin Spratley. You've jumped a bunch of his tracks, Lawrence.
Yes, I've really enjoyed them, and I love this. It's all modern equipment here, all light poles, lovely jumps, lovely colourful jumps, but easily knocked. You know, it's a different sport nowadays. Back in the day, I'm sure you would remember, Rogan, where everything was big and heavy, and you can sort of hold around the corner and gallop last 3 strides, bam, 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 to give the horse a bit of scope. But now, it's a whole different, a different ball game. You have to stay smooth, you have to be consistent, give the horse a bit of space, give all the opportunity to jump these very flimsy fences.
It has changed so much. The poles are only allowed to weigh 14.5 kilograms. You were mentioning the length?
Yes, I think they're about 3.5 or 3.6 meters long, which is, I don't know if this was a coincidence, but it's pretty much the length of a horse's stride.
Yes.
So it's really, it takes a lot of jumping to jump these fences clear nowadays.
It really has changed. It's all about accuracy and the carefulness of the horses and the control of their stride. All strong riders in this interprovincial and a worthwhile crowd in this close to perfect environment.
Yeah. After you, Ruggs?
A big shout out to Giovanni Augusta and his team for providing this facilities and going to so much bother to make what I think is going to be an incredible weekend's equestrian sport.
As soon as I drove in here, it was on Tuesday. You look down this valley from where the stables are to where the warm-up arena is, to this lovely big sand arena decorated by these tents and lovely wooden structures. And you could be anywhere in the world, anywhere in what I haven't spent much time at European shows, but what I've seen, it is on par.
Yes.
with the from the facility side of it.
One of your big sponsors here is Seif of Plettenberg Bay, and something completely aspirational to own a property somewhere here on this garden coast, preferably a smart house in Plet would cut the mustard, I think.
Definitely. I have a house down the road in Nyes, and I spent a lot of time here in Plet for the many years of my life, and I really enjoyed down here. I mean, the people are lovely, the climate's lovely, with lovely facilities like this. I mean, it'll be a pleasure to come down to shows here in the future.
Yeah, this venue is going to change the equestrian scene significantly, and I think what happens is a venue like this grows the sport in the area that it's located in. Plet was really known for polo. It's gone a little quiet, the polo side, and it's wonderful that show jumping might pick up the strain. We have number 1 cantering into the arena for Gauteng. Probably, apart from Jonathan Clark, the winningest rider currently at the moment, Rainer Korber, and he's on number 1, Callahoo Lansink.
See the way that Rainer's asking some of the people to leave the arena, because this is obviously a very careful, little bit spooky horse, and he does so well to manage it. You know, he's always keeping the lid on this horse and allowing it to relax its body, relax its top line, which it's not really naturally in doing. It's a little bit shorter, a little bit tight in the neck by nature, but he's lovely. He's so nice in making it longer and relaxed and use its body in scope.
I think you'll agree the Lissabons are very alert and electric, and these very careful show jumpers watch everything. Not only the jumps, they watch flags and signs and movement on the side.
Yeah.
So an untoward movement can distract the horse, cause it to make a mistake.
Definitely, Rogue. See how he came round there by that white tent and watched what was going on. He showed him this number 5, this wall.
And that wall is spooky with the saddles there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The CWD. It's an attractive piece of jump equipment, but some horses take a real look at those saddles as they jump over them.
Definitely, and it's that as well as the fact that it's open in the middle, which sort of dries your eye in a bit, because it doesn't have a big solid ground line for the horse to watch.
Yes.
Rain is so good at giving this horse the space and time to jump, never pressuring at the fence.
No, his smoothness is one of the hallmarks of his very attractive riding style. So coming down to the last, and it's all about returning clear rounds for your provincial side, and there it is, a very nice start for Gauteng, a clear round.
Fantastic piece of horsemanship there. He knew his horse, knows his horse backwards, and he played to its strengths, covered up his weaknesses, and produced a super clear for Gauteng.
Making it look perhaps easier than it is.
Definitely.
So Lloyd Nichols now comes in for the combined East Cape Limpopo side. Lloyd is basically a professional in the sport. He works for and with Diane Snodgrass. He acquired this horse when he was a junior. The horse is called Eagles Cognac. It's a concerto warrior. He gets good results in the 140s, and a very, very serious young man. A lucky young man too. His parents have acquired a property in Port Elizabeth, stables and enough space for arenas, and he's going to set himself up as a professional producer and dealer and trainer in Port Elizabeth.
Pretty about that pole. I think he might have been a little bit close there to that jump, and it sort of messes up the whole line. You know, it would make one mistake and it's sort of like a domino effect on the jumps. But I was actually chatting to Lloyd the other day about a day in the life of Lloyd, and he was telling me that he wakes up in the morning and he rides all the horses, and then at his lunch break he puts a surfboard on top of his car, drives down to the nearest beach and surfs for a couple of hours, and then back at it in the afternoon riding horses. Wouldn't that be a brilliant lifestyle?
Very tough. No, he does work hard at his riding though, and he's at all the shows and producing himself a young string again. And that's 3 fences down, 4 penalties per fence, so a score of 12.
It's often when horses have been jumping bigger fences and come down the level, they maybe don't watch the fences as much because they're not shocked by the height. You know, it could be a whole bunch of factors. Maybe the horse is a bit tired, maybe had a bad warm-up, but lovely riding by Lloyd. Really smooth.
He's a good rider. The horse didn't look overly careful this afternoon. Now, Tara Lowe. Tara Lowe's mother is the fabled Judy Lowe, and she's the most capped member of the Western Province team. Something extraordinary, like 17 times in the Western Province team. They live in Hart Bay. They've got a super property there, and that's where Tara's horses are. Tara works full-time for Woolworths in the media side of the company. Tara is nothing if not a foodie and a really good rider, very, very competitive. Trained by Gonda Beatrix. You'll be wanting to know how this horse is bred. It's a Verdi Bambix.
It's quite interesting. Neil, my Irish friend, had and sold Verdi as a young horse. Rode him when he was a 5-year-old.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
The Verdi that we're talking about is a fabled stallion that's been part of the success of the Dutch team at World Equestrian Games and Olympics. It's been a real success. She sets up for this last line.
Very careful breed, isn't it? Like knees always wrapped around their ears.
Yes.
Allergic to wood, as they say.
Oh, that does the home side a lot of good. Clear round for Tara Lowe and Western Province's Eagles, not Eagles Contact, Cuda Capital Valentine.
1 time penalty there, Rogues.
Oh, and it's 1 time penalty to add. So Gauteng in a good position, clear. 12 penalties for Eastern Cape, Limpopo. They will probably want to discard that. And then we have 1 penalty for the Western Cape. Now Lamina. This horse bred in Namibia, sold by Roger Hessen to the Corbers. Jean's got a very good eye and she can sniff around places and spot something. This mare, when they bought it, had just arrived from Namibia, was skinny, breathing flames and looked like nothing. And it is super. It's bred the same as Kaylee Triggle's very good little mare.
Would that be Louisa?
Yes. Both by Le Premier. So this was bred in Namibia out of a Consuelo mare using imported semen. Jean is crazy about it, and I don't think this horse has got too many limitations. It wouldn't surprise to see this in the 150s at some stage. It's wonderful. Also trained by Gonda. Jean hails from the Western Cape, was trained by Gonda there and still gets training from Gonda when she comes up and works in Johannesburg, which she does often.
Gonda, a legend in the sport. I was watching her yesterday. She's a Trojan. She works all day in that practice arena, putting up fences, telling all her students, or departing her knowledge with all the students. It's amazing that she still can do it the whole day at a show.
So a little forward there at that vertical. She's on 4 coming down to the last line. For penalties. So Anthony Kay now for Limpopo Eastern Cape. Evan Flo, Assegai Cognac, the Canter Z out of Rex Granus mare, bred in Grahamstown on the Curry stud. So this looked like a straightforward track, and out of 4 rounds, 1 clear.
Exactly. It's clever course designing. You know, they 1 to 2, not much happens, but then you have that hard line. I think it's a 6 and a 5 which shortens the horse up, and then a long turn back to a wide triple bar, then shorten up again for a double. So it's a lot of being able to take your horse forward and then bring him back, and then use the scope and keep the horse underneath you the whole time.
Absolutely.
Let's just watch this line. So Anthony's decided to go inside after Lloyd's time fault.
Yes.
This is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Added 1. Maybe it's a 7. I have 2, 3, 4, 5. That's always a 5 though.
Yes.
Rode that really well. Wider there. Maybe the horse just needs a good run up to this triple bar, which is a very modern triple bar. See how it's high in front, which is a more of a modern sort of design for a triple bar as far as I'm aware.
Anthony jumping a good round. He was in the East Cape team as a junior. He has a dealing operation. Those two verticals off the right rein look like they can fall very easily if the horse is cut in.
Definitely rigged out. Not much was wrong there from Anthony's side. Just maybe the horse lacking experience or just needs some ring mileage.
Very nice horse. Cantazi, a Kumano Laudanum. Just the 4 penalties, I think. So Limpopo now on 16, unless they are able to discard Lloyd Nichols' score, as we go to Georgina Ratcliffe. She brings in for the Western Cape Nova Zonostral's Annika, the Celano Capitol. And Nova Zonostral is the family home. It is, where would you say? It's in Constantia. Basically, it's a farm, a wine farm, an olive farm in Constantia, where they have a small boutique livery setup, and it is as beautiful as anything can be. Perfect. So she turns early to be snug here.
She went round the seaf. Other riders have been inside that seaf, which is the main sponsor of this lovely show.
Picks up the 6 early. Very good. A big kick at that CWD. Very good.
See, the horses, they don't only have to watch the number 5, the CWD dump, but they're jumping a little bit into the side of the arena, into the tent, which is also another test.
Of course, design. It didn't used to be like this, but with the elevated standards, everything's gone more demanding.
Very careful. Horse has to ride up to every fence and give the horse a bit of confidence.
She's giving it a super ride. Georgina, housewife in Constantia, a mother of 3 children, and general all-round really nice person. Super.
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 And also lovely big tap there, super round. Lovely, careful mare that.
So halfway through, they're lying on just 1 time penalty. Gauteng on 4. So standing by to go is now Ultimo WC. This is from Gauteng. The rider is Lara Neal. She's riding some horses for the Callagher Stud, some of her own. She's been a stalwart of the Western Province, now based in Gauteng with her husband Gareth. They have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and she is very involved in the equestrian business. She sells a super range of equestrian apparel and tack. That vertical, that Sabrina Love vertical, is definitely a danger.
It's amazing, even in a class like this with only 12 horses in it, like there's so many stamps of horses. You can't really stamp a show jumper nowadays. You know, there's big rangy ones, sharp little compact ones like this.
So Lara rode this horse's mother, the dam, Whisper Cool, right up to World Cup level. Then the mare retired to breed. She was a Wunderbar Lancer. She was also grey. What a good mare she was. And this horse is useful. Her husband Gareth wanted her to throw it away and she wouldn't. And they're now very thrilled that they didn't. Ah. Wow.
Backed off that a bit.
Wow.
Look that he had that one down.
Yes. So at this stage we have just the 2 clears. Western Cape So Western Cape on a total of 5. They'll be looking to discard the 4 if possible. Robin Gerber used to be based up in Gauteng. She's now based in Grahamstown, where she lives with her 3 daughters. And this is a horse that she acquired in the Eastern Cape from the Eagles stud. It's Eagles Licorice, by their next stallion, which is Lassiter. And he's a super jumping sire. This is out of a Concerto mare. So that's where the both stallions were grey, Lassiter and Concerto, but Concerto is very, very big, and that's where the size comes from. This has got plenty of engine.
Robin's such a lovely lady at the shows, always full of fun and ready for a good time. And
just hates a party, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
Hates a party.
Sue, that's high up the ride, a triple bar. Lovely ride there.
And just the horse keeping its head up. She touches that oxer out behind. So on 4 penalties.
She needs to try bring it home. Try lower the amount of poles that this team has.
This horse is keen with engine. She is focusing.
Trying to give it room, but just ran through her hand a bit.
Bounced, yeah. It surged at that.
Still a good round. Lovely round.
8 penalties. So East Cape Limpopo moving into 3rd spot, and this interprovincial competition looks like it's going to be between Gauteng and Western Province, at least Western Cape. Now a young man that viewers won't have seen. He's from the Western Cape. He brings in Soft Track Systems, Chabal's Destiny. The name is Jason Hunter, and this horse is by Udokis out of a mare by Vallon Rouge. Vallon Rouge was a South Francais stallion that was so successful with Ronnie Lawrence. And this horse is hot. Paul Garlicki used to ride it, and he said it was too hot for him, but a younger man like Jason, who skrik for nix, doesn't mind if it goes a bit sideways and a bit backwards. He's already had some good classes at the show, and the pressure getting to the horse, and pays the price. Jason kicking as hard as he can to get the horse to go forwards and focus. Lawrence, this does look hot, huh?
It does. It's not something that I would
choose
to ride. No, trying to find a nice word there, but this seems, I've seen it jump better this week. Maybe it just the event's getting to it, and it's getting a bit hot.
And the pressure, there is a different pressure in a team event.
Definitely. You're often in riding, you never really, you say it's an individual sport, but it's far from that. Especially in a team event like this, you have your grooms, your owners, your sponsors, everyone behind you wanting to do well. It's not just you in the ring. It's the weight of many people.
Yes. 12 penalties, I think. 3 down. +1, so 13. That round put Gauteng into a very strong position. Jason using all his wily skills to try and pilot that around. Now, a remarkable horse is Gerber van den Bishop. This is owned by Data Sciences. It's for the Gauteng team, and Jonathan, the most senior rider in the Gauteng team here this afternoon, he's jumped for South Africa at the World Equestrian Games and Indoor World Cup, and he rides for Slade Equestrian. They are his backers of this really good string that he is riding, and this was acquired from the dealer Sancho in Belgium, and really a typical Belgian horse, sort of plain with big ears. It wouldn't win a showing class, but with heart and fire and all the will in the world to jump clear rounds. I'm going to draw your attention to Jonathan's style. He rides with a slightly short rein, he rides light, and he is still and smooth. He was the winningest junior of his time. He won all the titles that there were to win. The dressage, showing, jumping, equitation championships, eventing. And he now is the dominating force in adults in South Africa. Rather remarkable. You see how efficiently Lawrence that he turns.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. But then when he gets to the jump, he jumps every jump like an upright. Was saying that yesterday when I was watching him. He never ever pushes a horse with a back rail, allows the horse to sit and jump up through its shoulder and use all its scope.
Yes, the horse in a Papancini bit. It's a blue rubber bit. It's a square mouthpiece, but it's a kind and bendy and soft, very palatable to the horses' mouths. It's become very popular. Wow, that's unusual. So wherever he's put an upright off a turn, it's caused faults. And it's rare to see a rail down with Jonathan and one of the Slade horses. Inside the time. So one of the leading stallions in the world is the famous Katoki. The horse at the World Equestrian Games from South Africa, Campbell, is a Katoki. And Lawrence, you'd like to ride a Katoki if you could?
Oh, definitely. They've been just making waves in the international circuit.
So it can be that we are skipping number 11, Leona van der Merwe with her Katoki, and going on. Either she's not coming in, or
I didn't see in the parade. Now that you say
something's
that,
gone wrong. No, I didn't either. So it can be that she's not available. So the last to go for the Eastern Cape will be Beachhaven's After Dark, Ivan van der Sade. This is the man whose mom has the Equine Librium Press. They're sponsors here. It's the faculty up the road where you can get a BSc veterinary physio.
so I have a filly in a farm down here, and we couldn't have kept her here without the facilities of Ivan van der Sade's Equine Librium. It's really a top class place. Anything you need, they have it.
Anything a horse needs.
Anything a horse needs. Exactly.
And in fact, they treat all sorts of animals. There were a bunch of dogs and cats there when we visited yesterday afternoon. Ivan has won some of the biggest titles below 150 in this country on this horse. When he's in a runoff, he can go faster than anybody. He won the Speed Derby at the recent Cell C Derby, jumping a lovely round. This horse bred by Diane Snodgrass here in the Eastern Cape by acclaim out of a thoroughbred mare, and really delivers the goods. What a thrill.
Lovely round. Very similar to the way Jono's style was he said, with the short terrain, light seat, and it really works for him. Every horse wants to jump for Ivan.
He's a tall man, but he's slim, and he does ride with great feel and delicacy. So what happens next is that the riders will come in and walk a shortened course. This course will be against the clock, and the overall team results will be decided on the team with the lowest number of penalties from both rounds, but the fastest times in the second round. It sounds complicated. It isn't really. You can see the arena party going out there, and the man in the Panama hat is your designer, Kevin Spratley. There you see Kevin Spratley in the rather smart shirt and tie and Panama hat. He's a fanatical off-road motorcyclist. He stays fit, he runs like a mad thing too, and he and his wife have been in the horse business all their lives. He works in business. He does this actually as a high-level hobby, and one might say he does it beautifully. He's adjusting the Sabrina Love jump. Very special that a foundation started by the Lubner family in honor of their late daughter Sabrina. And nobody who knows anything about equestrian sport in South Africa doesn't know about the Sabrina Love Foundation, and of course with its pink colors, which have become part of the Sabrina Love emblem. This is really beautiful equipment. It's light, easy to work with, but still spectacular and colorful. according to this, with the discard for Gauteng. Just watch there. Tarlo's turn back. She's on Kuda Capital Valentine and Verdi Bambix.
I have to see the horses in slow motion, to see their technique, to see how they...
It's lovely to see, isn't it? Jean Corba on Lamina. Namibian bred by Le Premier out of Consuelo Mare.
Just unlucky there with that pole. Just maybe overrode a little bit. I mean, she would do it 100 times and do it 100 times.
Cleaner than that, yeah, exactly. Jumped a good round there. So I think Gauteng finishes that round on 8. Then we'll look at the East Cape with their discards. He'll be the discard. So then it will be Anthony Kay. We're watching him on screen now. Anthony Kay was round with 4 penalties. Robin Gerber with 8. And Ivan with 0. So they will be on 12. Thank you. So the teams now walking the second round, once again designed by Kevin Spratley. You'll notice that the judges walk as well, and they have to make the final decision on whether everything is acceptable to standard, safe, meets all the Federation Equestrian International requirements. This is run under FEI rules. There's the Western Province team. Two nice looking girls, and we can't always say that about the boys in the team. And there's Barry Taylor, chef of the Gauteng team. So this will change a lot because this is against the clock, and the riders have a little bit to throw caution to the wind.
We're planning a jump off turns, planning where they can make time, planning where they can drop strides, what horses can drop strides, you know, because often you have to play to your horse's strengths.
Yes, there's the Western Province side again. Oh, yes, it is. Tarlo, Georgina Ratcliffe. Then it's Jason Hunter and Ivan van der Sade. There's Jason, who had the really difficult ride on the grey. She went sideways and did all sorts of things. Paul Garlicki had the grey originally and said he got off it. It was too hot for him and he was too old for such excitement. But Jason is certainly not that. In his early 20s, runs an equine feed business. So a little bit of crowd noise for the respective provincial sides, but definitely the Cape team sounding a little noisier and keener than the Gauteng teams. I'm suspicious that the Gauteng supporters are at the beach already.
No, definitely. I mean, I think it's a novelty for us to be down this side of the world, but I mean, obviously there's brilliant show jumping to be seen here,
So the South African individual show jumping championships will take place tomorrow, and a small but a very strong field, 24 horses contesting that title. Some riders not electing to come, finding it expensive or inconvenient at this time of year, but still the majority of the top riders are represented here at this show. This team competition is pitched at 1.35 meters. Above that you have more heights. The next height that riders compete at is 1.40, and the South African Championships will take place at 1.50 meters, 1.55 meters. World Cup qualifiers are 1.50 meters with two 1.60 meter fences. And the Olympic Games and World Equestrian Games, the jumps will go to 1.60 meters, which is huge and takes some doing. Takes exceptional riding and some very exceptional horses.
expensive horses as well.
Always, always. So this is going to be different this second round because of being against the clock. It changes the look of how the riders ride and how they view it, and time will be an influencing factor. Western Province in the lead with just one time penalty. 7 penalties behind them are Gauteng, and then a fence behind them are East Cape Limpopo. All the East Cape Limpopo rounds had to count. Discard. Thank you. So if Western Province leave everything up and don't incur time penalties, they should find this a shoe-in to win.
But then if they go slower, Rogues, if they choose to try jump a careful clear and they
make
make a mistake, exactly, then then they'll be in some competition from our Gauteng riders we know who can fly.
Yeah, we do have fast riders here.
Do you think we're a bit biased, Rogues, to our Gauteng?
There's a hint of bias, just a tiny little whiff of prejudice.
See the horses warming up, the lovely going in the warm-up arena.
A big thank you to the sponsors of this event, Seif, Plettenberg Bay. Your hosts are Sonera, the Augusta family, and then interesting sponsors, definitely relevant ones, such as John Deere, SA Show Jumping, Great Soft, Ocean Blue, Sky Villa, the Plettenberg Bay Country Club, Hunter Hotels, Sommer Saddles, the Equine Clinic, Equine Librium, Devo Coup, the saddle manufacturers, Western Shop, GCX Max, which make a wonderful joint care range, highly prized in the equestrian world, Knight Frank, Espoir, Denron, Novus on Austral Stables, Horseland, CWD, the Sabrina Love Foundation, Eccentrics Interiors, Nolan's Flooring and Blinds, Yates Landscapes, Giraffe View Safari Camp, and Martin Collins. And first in for the Eastern Cape, Lloyd Nicol. He didn't have a lucky round in the first round. He'll be wanting to go better than 3 fences down.
Lloyd setting off at a pace, trusting his horse. Let's look at the course. Number 1, turn inside to number 2. Inside that Seif jump. And when they were walking, I count this as 7 strides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sadly, having that down, having to push the last couple of strides. And then there is an option to go inside the green jump after the Dunlop to this red Oxer, relatively bigger to the other fences. Can't go inside to number 5, that's a bit tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, potentially 7 there, Rogan. What would you say?
Yes.
And you have to test your guts turning back to this rustic Oxer. 2, 3, 4, 5, or only 6 down to that double of upright, unless you have a very careful horse. Lovely round by Lloyd.
Actually, a very nice round. Just the 2 down. Horse not looking at his best form. Now Rainer Korber brings in number 1, Gauteng's Callao Lansing. This horse bred at the Callao Stud, which is situated in Christiana. And Rainer is quick. Watch.
Horses just pricked, looking at number 1. Lovely, nice Oxer to start, but you have to turn straight afterwards. Rainer smooth as silk around that corner.
10 strides. He'll go inside here.
7 strides there.
Yes, he does so easily. Horse disuniting and then reuniting its canter. And let's see where he goes. Snug to this. Yes. Very nice. 8. Turn back quickly to this, what was a triple bar now becomes a rustic oxer. Super.
Lovely.
And that's what to do. Thank you.
I think that was wrong.
Okay. Okay. Tara Lowe now. And she brings in the Cuda Insurance horse. Progeny of Verdi out of a Bambix mare.
Going one extra, going on the 8. Maybe she wants to get the inside turn there, which he does.
Very nice.
Taking a little more time to that oxer as well.
Tara has won in children's, in juniors, and now in adults. She's won at all the levels, at all the venues in the country. She really is a successful rider. Her cousin Liam Stevens, also a top rider in Gauteng.
Lovely snap.
And super result. So Western Province looking very strong. So 40, in the region of 47 seems to be the time they're going to deliver. Anthony Kay on Eben Flow's Assegai Cognac. So Assegai is the stud it comes from. Eben Flow is the name of Anthony's dealing and training business in Port Elizabeth.
Coming on the right rein, maybe his horse prefers, maybe wants to jump across the oxer to get the turn.
Yes, that
Tactics.
worked well.
Also going on the 7 there, inside Anthony. Very well ridden.
Super timing. Or staying disunited, but not proving to be a problem. This is quick. This is nice, actually. Slight bounce there. A person like Lara Neal will take that stride out.
I think it's a relatively new horse to this level of show jumping. I think it's not seen many big fences in its time, and he has to just take a little bit extra time when he's coming to those fences.
Absolutely super.
Super clear round and a little bit faster there, Ergen.
45.49. He looked quick. Good result for Eastern Cape Limpopo. And now we go to Jean Corba. So she's bringing in Lamina for Gauteng team. She had a rail down in the first round of this. She's capable of going clear and will be looking to go clear. Big canter to number 1, ideal. 10 strides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then watch 1, 2, 3. 12. She's being economical without risking anything. Good turn back. That's a disciplined turn back. Picks up a distance. Super. Well, she made easy work of that. And she's delighted with Lamina.
Oh, the super round. It kept the rhythm, kept the flow, trusted the horse to jump the fences, and it did.
And it looks like way the quickest, 43.64. Very nice for Gauteng. So Gauteng's got to hope that the other riders have rails. In the lead still is Western Province. And bringing up third is Eastern Cape Limpopo. as fit and slim as when she turned adult. Georgina Radcliffe, an impressive 3 children later. Super opening. On their day, all of these riders can win a really hot class. Gets deep there, keeps motoring forward. She's not going to be as quick as Jean. And super, really good. Uh. 46.14, I think. So 3 seconds off the pace, but leaving everything up and being economical. Georgina Radcliffe. Nova Sonostrals, Aniko. We're on now Robin Gerber from the Eastern Cape. She's on the Eagle entry. Eagle's Licorice. This horse has a big stride. It's a big horse and has a big jump. Robin is a tall lady. Also a mother of 3 children, and has ridden all her life and has been really keen. Would have been better leaving out of stride to that Oxer. Now on 4 penalties. Manages this hot horse really well.
Never forget Robin's lovely big chestnut that she used to ride in the big classes.
Parsifal.
Parsifal.
Yes. And touching 2 rails off, but having a presentable round, Robin Gerber. Eagle's Licorice. So, Lara Neal. She describes herself as competitive, and she really is. She can go so quickly on this horse by Olana van Labos. Ultimo WC. Like Jonathan, she's smooth and still. She makes the job very easy for the horse. A gag action bit there. And this horse didn't show off that much as a young horse, but every time they've asked him a bigger question, he's answered with complete aplomb. Disunites from time to time. You see him bouncing with his back legs. Did it again.
From watching this horse, obviously you can see he's got a different canter behind.
Yes.
Apparently that comes from his mother.
Okay. Whisper cool.
Apparently she had a very similar canter. So
Okay.
obviously if you're producing a horse like this and it has a canter similar to this and you knew its lineage.
Yes.
It
You
would make a
understand where it
difference.
comes from.
Exactly.
Yep. And you get more insight. Super clear. Now, here was the colourful round. Jason Hunter. He brings in Shabal's Destiny. And Shabal's Destiny sponsored by Soft Track Systems. This is a Western Cape entry. So this horse gets hot and stimulated and then goes sideways and starts to take away Jason's options like then. Well, yep. And you can see her brain gets frazzled. She's sort of pawing the ground a little. This is really hard on a rider. Rider has to stay cool. And then when you get excited, and the horse gets excited, all the circuits. Now that's unusual. You're jumping a jump backwards. It's got Lawrence absolutely hysterical.
I love that it was
And that's that's an elimination. Luckily, no harm done, no one hurt. Lawrence, I'd ask you to draw breath. Oh dear, and Jason will be really disappointed. We've got to watch what happened. This is extraordinary. Okay,
1-2 strides.
That's amazing, and clears it. Doesn't rub it.
Look at it behind.
Wow. No, that's extraordinary. Okay.
That's a pity.
No one anticipated that, least of all the rider, I have to say. Okay, so what that does in real terms causes an elimination. I'm sorry, we don't mean to be chuckling, but it was very funny.
No, it wasn't the rider's fault. The horse was locked on and flew. It's amazing how brave that horse was, but wouldn't jump the oxer forwards. But then turned around and jumped the first part of the combination
Jason
backwards.
and his mother sort of exchanging commentary, but
yeah,
that was
to give that horse a pat was actually brilliant.
Yeah. Absolutely no comeback from that. So, coming into the arena now will be Jonathan Clark. He'll be bringing in Data Science's Gerber van den Bishop. She's the Ogano Zitta mare, out of a Calvados mare, Belgian bred. Purchased through the agent Sancho Fuhrmann. He helped the Slades get all their horses, and really they have the strongest string in the country. I'm sure you'll agree.
No, definitely. Whenever you see Jono and one of these horses, you're next to go or jump off against them, you know it's going to be a tough ask.
So there's a technical issue. Jonathan discussing with Mike Rief, the steward and judge. So he'll be asking about what's allowed to happen and not allowed to happen. Jonathan picking up his canter. And that's the bell for Jonathan. So he had 4 penalties.
I'd really urge any of the young riders or children watching now to just watch Jono's hands, his position in the saddle. The horse wants to jump the fences. It's a brilliant synergy he has with his horses through the contact of his reins. And
on a turn like that, he'll go one less stride than most of the people. He lands, canters away from the fence and turns. He's a maestro at time. Amazing. Smooth. Makes it look easy.
And I feel if you had to see these horses with other riders, they wouldn't look as simple. I think he does a very good job in managing the horses and then riding them in the ring.
And when they arrived, they had no muscle. They were young. This one looked like a chestnut mountain goat. You wouldn't have given 5 bob for it.
Wow,
really good. Really, really good. Super easy. And now it's the turn of Ivan van der Sade. He's for the Western Province team. After that excitement, are you able to tell what's happening?
No. But I think it's pretty much between Gauteng and Eastern Cape have 8 and Nichols 8. far as I can tell, it's reasonably tight enough. I just need to do the math. This is going to be a lovely round anyway. Watching even rides is always a privilege. And After Dark, they're such a partnership. Like, being together for a long time, and they really know each other. And it's when it pays off for them, when they go fast and it pays off. It's always such a lovely vibe they give off, isn't it? Just of a man and his horse. Brilliant.
Smooth and in harmony. Super clear. Super, and a thrilled Ivan van der Zede. Absolutely thrilled. And that looks like that concludes the competition. We'll bring you the results in just a moment. So just a few moments, the teams will mount up, put on their provincial livery, and they'll be back in for the presentation. Lovely shots of Tarlo coming to an Oxa. That's smooth and away. So East Cape jumping. Eastern Cape jumping into second. Anthony Kay.
Western Cape passing Eastern Cape. Western Cape win by 1 time. With 1 time from passing the next one.
Okay. So the results of this competition, it's in third spot going to the Eastern Cape. Second spot on 8 penalties is the Gauteng team, and it's a win for the Western Cape. The Western Cape team comprising Tara Lowe, Georgina Ratcliffe, Jason Hunter, great view of the Sunera Arena here in Pisang Valley in Plettenberg Bay. Just perfect sunshine and the perfect cool breeze. So Western Cape scores from their first round, actually dictating the outcome of this class. They finished the first round on just the 1 time penalty. They jumped 2 clears and 1 time penalty.
So, as far as I'm aware, if it just went down to time, and let's say Ivan and had a pole, as far as time concerned, Gauteng were
quicker
faster
in the second round. Yeah, they upped their game in the second round, but the damage had been done in the first round. They had 2 rails down, which counted against them, leaving the way clear for Western Province to win this. Ivan van der Zede getting ready to parade, part of the Western Province's success.
The grooms such a big part of the team. I'm very involved. You see them with the horses. Care a lot about the horses. Want the horse to succeed, but love them just as much as the riders do, don't they, Rogan?
Yeah, the involvement of the grooms is extraordinary. The level of professionalism exhibited by these top competition grooms is also very impressive. They know their horses really well, but they know everything about them, how to lunge them, how to saddle them. They know when the horses are off, they know when the horses are right, and they do get personally involved with the horses. It seems that the grooms stay as grooms for almost all their lives, get to know each other, develop a social set. There's quite a lot of soccer that takes place. There's soccer teams formed by the riders and grooms, and some really exciting soccer takes place at these shows in the arenas after hours. Just to give viewers an idea, to get here from Johannesburg, I drove with horses, and we were 7 hours to Colesberg, and then another 9 hours the next day from Colesberg here to Plettenberg Bay. Driving's done very seriously. The drivers try to give the horses a smooth run, lots of stops for water and to let the horses off to urinate. But the risk of horses getting sick when you coop them up in a hauler and drive them for the best part of 2 days is high. Almost all the riders I know about overnighted somewhere or let the horses out. Often the horses won't urinate in transit, which can predispose them to travel sickness. And if you tie a horse's head up, it very easily gets travel sick, and then the stress of travel. But these horses that travel this distance, on the whole experienced, have done a lot of travel, and the riders know exactly how to manage them. Horses get on an electrolyte supplement before they travel. The riders are very, very careful about hydrating the horses. Horses have a range of rugs for whether it's hot or cold, or to keep the breeze out. Robin Gerber, her Eagle's horse by Lassiter. Two course designers there, Ryan Sander, and of course Kevin Spratley.
There's a third place team, Rogan. The Eastern Cape put in a good effort.
Yeah, very good effort. Eastern Cape combined with Limpopo.
Oh, that's winners, sorry there, Rogan, that's winners, Western Cape.
You wonder if it isn't time for this team event to be revisited and done differently. I think it could be very interesting if you fielded the breeding regions. So if you pitched the Eastern Province breeders against the Western Province breeders, against KZN breeders, against Gauteng breeders, that might be more interesting.
So not the origin of the rider, but the origin of the
yeah,
horses.
so your horse goes into the team relative to the area where it was bred, and that could be a very nice marketing and promotional vehicle.
Yeah, definitely.
So there would be a strong team from, for instance, Free State, because that's where Callagher is based. Definitely a strong team from Gauteng. Capital Stud is based there.
And then the Northern Cape, isn't Capital Stud?
Could be. It is at Hartbeespoort Dam. Is that in Northwest? You could be right. Get the whole Northwest team coming from on Capital Stud horses.
See a different personality of the horses. Some stand quietly.
Yes.
After dark, I'm sure, is used to the prize giving. And then a couple other horses.
Robin Gerber's Lassiter is hot. Lassiter himself was very lively, energetic. We call it blood horses. They've got blood. They have a forward desire. They're enthusiastic and sensitive. And that would be Robin's horse, that Lassiter. So there is Giovanni Augusta going out to present the prizes. He's the man in the beard and shorts. He's looking a little less stressed today. Yesterday he was looking exhausted. They've been up at night building and fixing and doing last minute touches to get it all correct. They've done an amazing job. There are flowers everywhere. There are displays everywhere. Flags and bunting. Wonderful ranges of catering, a bit of an upmarket flea market. You can buy all sorts of delicious things or useful things or interesting things at the trade fair at the back of the showgrounds. So truckfuls of horses have come from all over the country, Cape Town, of course Gauteng, Limpopo.
I think I was reading, Rogan, that it's been 10 years since a South African championship has been held in this province.
Wow, wow. So nice that Sunera has brought a South African show jumping championship to the Eastern Cape, to different people to see.
I think the juniors have been to George a few years ago, but the adults haven't been here since 2000.
Correct.
2008, sorry.
So judges presenting the prizes and rosettes to now the Gauteng team. Di Baxter, Mike Krief, Sharon Trurb. Daniel Pinner was the team manager for the East Cape team. And second rosette being presented to Jean Corba. Now the East Cape team. Mike Krief there doing honours. Team manager Zola Bisa. Zola, who works in the equine industry in the Eastern Cape. He's a handler at the races and assists Diane Snodgrass in her dealing operation. He himself has East Cape colours for equitation, and he does a fair amount of training and teaching now. And he's a really experienced, competent horseman, an asset to the industry. Anthony Kay, Lloyd Nichols, and Robin Gerber.
We got very little on YouTube. It was mostly Facebook.
Yeah, that is what's going to be like.
Okay.
That's your logo for the South African show jumping website. That's them, and they will run it and carry it.
Okay.
And you'll get your most people tuning into that first.
Okay.
You're on Facebook, so you put a link on their page. But I